Some mistakes I made because I listened to too many people. Some mistakes I made because I surrounded myself with the wrong kind of people. And some good mistakes happened that led me to where I am now,
We think our passion is to actually chase money, but we don't understand that when you have the passion that drives you to fulfill your purpose on earth, that will actually make you a millionaire at the later stage.
Hey man, I was building Christmas trees, doing electrical engineering, having those diodes, my lights flicking.
Yeah.
But I couldn't feel myself. I couldn't get that joy and that fulfillment.
When you're pushing your passion, when you're excited about life and bringing life into other people, it makes you a better person. It gives you better health.
It's not easy, guys, to unlearn something. It's not easy to change or transition into something. It's not something that happens overnight.
What should I tell them? What should I say? What message are you giving to those people who are saying, I want to live a life of passion. I want my passion ignited because I tell you, it's inside. It's not on top.
Yeah.
So it's inside
It's
of
inside
each and
this
every
time,
person.
yeah.
But how can they ignite it? How do you bring it out?
Bafetu, it's that season once again. A lot of men, a lot of women across the country are going back to the soccer season. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of passion that you're going to see on the streets. Even today, it's one of those days where some people are going to be watching some soccer. And I just want to hear from you as passionate fans that I know you are. How does, soccer play a role in your life? And how passionate are you about soccer? I'm a Chiefs fan. So I'm very passionate about Chiefs. I'm very passionate about Man United. But can I hear what role does passion play in your supporting of the soccer team? Lebza?
I mean, I'm course for life. So I'm not going to hit the bush or what.
Yeah,
I'm passionate about that brand. Yeah. I love Kaizer Chiefs, and I've been there through the tough times, through the good times with it. And now we've been in bad seasons. But I do believe that it's going to pass by. I don't have to cross to another team where everybody is crossing to. So going back to your question of passion, I think passion, it's something that excites you and that drives you. It's something that makes you to wake up in the morning to go out there to fulfill your purpose. Yeah, so sure. Kaizer Chiefs is that drive.
Mnetfu, you also, I know you are a Kaizer Chiefs fan. I've seen your T-shirts. It's one of the things that you can't hide. And how does your passion, allow you to support a team like Kaizer Chiefs, which we all know has been struggling? One title in 10 seasons. That's a record on its own. We used to be record holders for other things, but now we have the record of having one title in 10 years. How does passion, play a role in your supporting of a team like Kaizer Chiefs, knowing also the signings that we made?
Well, thank you, Mnetfu. I think that's the thing about passion, that even if your team signs unknown players, but passion drives you to a point that you just keep going irrespective of what's happening at that particular instance. And in this case, looking forward to the new season, looking forward to what's going to unfold.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, if we talk about passion, we talk about something that you wake up to, something that gives you that drive every morning to say, I want to go and do this thing, irrespective of how the current circumstances and things look. I just want to keep going for this.
Sure. So I hear both of you saying that you are willing to do anything because of this team that you are supporting. Even the ridicule will not get to you. Even the things that are happening on the streets will not get to you. Am I hearing you correctly, gents?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you get ridiculed by these guys. These Sundowns guys, these Pirates guys, they really get on your nerve, right?
Yeah.
And they're also passionate for their own teams, but I don't think there's a group of supporters as passionate as Kaizer Chiefs supporters. That's one of the teams in the whole country that has the biggest support base and has the greatest amount of fans in terms of just the caliber of fan.
And you get one win and suddenly you want Real Madrid.
Exactly.
You want Barcelona. The level of confidence by just one win. It's really amazing.
And that shows you the passion of the team, right? Yeah. The passion of the supporters. And it's a sad reality when you look at outside of football now, where you go into the streets, you go into the townships, you go into towns even, and you see the state of people. People are sitting around, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You find young people, old people, they don't really have, this desire that we are talking about to have that passion to push them forward. I took a drive the other day and I realized that most young people, they don't really have a passion for anything anymore. Even the adults, you look at them, you find them walking around the streets aimlessly. They don't really know what they are doing. Can you please unpack, Bafethu? What does a life of lack of passion bring into the lives of people and communities in general?
I think everything boils back to how we are raised as people, like in one of our conversations when we were talking about the life of a passion, you have families whom their passion or their purpose is to breed leaders. And you think of Jomo Kenyatta, who was followed by his son to be the president of Kenya. You can talk of George W. Bush, who followed his father to be a president. So basically this thing, it's something that some people grow with it. But unfortunately for the majority of us, we have to go out there and look for it. And that's where the problem is. So usually we think our passion is to actually chase money. But we don't understand that when you have the passion that drives you to fulfill your purpose on earth, that will actually make you a millionaire at the later stage.
Sure.
That's just something that we have never been told or learned about when we were young. So we're just raised to say that, okay, go to school, do grade 1 to grade 12, and then from grade 12, go to tertiary and go to work, and that's about it. Which is why you have people today who are actually in careers where they are not even passionate, they are not even happy, they are not delivering, and yet they are highly qualified on paper.
Yeah.
So it boils back to how you are raised. If fortunately your father is a businessman, you are bound to learn about business at an early age. And the moment you get education, you definitely know how to use that education to drive your passion. So that's just my take about the passion. It's something that you should be exposed to at an earlier age.
Yeah.
That there is something that you must live for. I like the preachings at church because our pastor is always about that you need to live a purposeful life. And living a purposeful life, it means you must be passionate about what you are doing in order to unleash your potential, which is your purpose. So that's just my take about it.
Sure.
Yeah, and if I were to jump in there, you talk about taking a drive and seeing people young and old not really being passionate about something, loitering on the streets, just living life aimlessly. And maybe I want to start up talking about passion. Say, what is passion in itself?
Yeah.
And passion, it's defined as that intense emotion or enthusiasm about something or someone. And in this case, we're talking about towards something. And oftentimes, we want to go out and find that thing somewhere, of which it is not somewhere, it is within us.
Sure.
But what we often lack is, how do I activate it? How do I ignite it? How do I live my passion, the things that really brings me joy and fulfillment in life? And I think that's what I find it's lacking. Lebza talks about growing up in an environment where certain things are predetermined or preset. But oftentimes in some of the places that we're exposed to is the exposure. The lack of exposure to certain things leads to a point where a life becomes passionless or lived aimlessly.
Sure. That is so good, gents. The way you describe passion, I can tell that you guys are life igniters. That you guys are about passion, igniting a life of passion. And that's what we are about really today. We're here to ignite someone who's sitting there at home who's thinking, but I don't even know what passion is. And you've defined it so well, the both of you. And I can tell there's some things, just like I asked what a lack of passion can do. There are some things that limit, the desire or the push to have a passion. And you mentioned earlier, correctly, Lebza, that fear is one of them. What role does fear play in the life of a person and how they are then pushed either towards a lack of passion or a life of passion? what do you think fear plays? And maybe you can take this one first.
Yeah. Well, fear is one of the biggest hindrances to us doing anything that we want to do in life. And oftentimes it's brought about by something we don't know.
Yeah.
You are fearing something that you don't know.
Sure.
So what is key, whatever that you believe in, whatever that excites you, whatever that you want to do, just take the first step.
Yeah.
And oftentimes you find that what you are fearing on the other side is also fearing you. And when are you sitting here, you're like, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to start. I don't know. As long as you know that I want to do 1, 2, 3, I would say just take a step, because fear will hinder you. Fear will stop you from achieving the things that are set out for you. Sure. So it's very, very critical that you just take that step. In fact, even the Creator himself, God, you trigger him to move when you take a step.
Sure.
But when you're sitting in your corner, fearful, so just move, just do something. And I tell you, things will begin to align.
Hashtag ngeke uyithole uhleli kulelo corner. I like
Exactly.
that. Come on now. Come on, somebody. Lebza, please elaborate a little bit more, man. Tell us a bit more how fear plays, a role, whether to limit or how faith can push you towards, a life of passion.
Yeah, somewhere I read, passion is a sign of weakness. So basically, why am I quoting that? It's because of that people think if I'm passionate about something, it means like I kind of put myself in a cocoon, where I'm only able to do certain things, but I cannot spread my wings. Yeah. So that's where fear comes in most of the time. But then I disagree with that, because what I believe passion is all about giving you that drive to go beyond the expectations. To go beyond what you thought it was insurmountable for you. But then once you are passionate about something, you always go extra mile. You are innovative, you are creative every time. And you always want to keep up because you don't want to be left behind. So which is why people that are passionate, they are always a step ahead. Not so long ago, we were reading about Dr. Mlapo's book that was talking about AI and then what will happen around 2030. Like life is going to change altogether. And then it's such things that ignites your passion. If you want to see yourself at a certain point, you push yourself that I always stay relevant when you are passionate, because you are living a purposeful life. And when you are living a purposeful life, what is it that you do? You always go a step ahead. So a lot of people, like, they fear that if I try something, what if something is not going to work?
Sure.
And here's the thing, that you will never achieve whatever that you want to achieve or unleash your potential if you are not trying.
Sure.
I discovered this when I was still at varsity, when I was studying. I failed statistics in my first year. And I had never failed before. I've been at school for 12 years. I've been getting good grades. But when I got to varsity, that was the first thing that I failed. And that thing opened my eyes that if you fail this subject, you go back and then you see where you have failed. Yeah. And I realized that, okay, there was a topic that was key that I failed on, that I need to work on. And when I went back the following year, in the first semester of the following year, I passed that with flying colors.
Sure.
It's because of that I allowed myself to fail and I went back to review myself. Yeah. And that in itself solved the problem.
Sure. Wow, man. You mentioned allowing yourself to fail. I hope you allowed yourself in a good way, because there are some people who are sitting and saying, I'm just not going to study, you know. But you studied, you were really good at your grades, and you exposed yourself to statistics, which was new to you.
Yeah.
You'd never done statistics. And through that exposure, I believe you had a passion now to say, hey, listen, I'm going to pass this thing. Yeah. I'm going to make this thing my reality, that I'm going to pass, and I'm going to do extremely well in this course. Yeah. So I see that, in some of the things that you mentioned just now, and I'm seeing a theme about what you guys are speaking about: exposure and trial and error. And I believe exposure and trial and error are what helps us even to develop a life of passion. Mnetfu, you're going to speak about, if you allow me to ask you to speak about this, you're going to speak about how exposure played a role in your life and how that led to a life of passion for you. Maybe just briefly tell us what kind of exposures helped you to a life of passion.
Thank you, Mnetu. I think for me, it's exposure has played a critical role. Yeah. Because what you are not exposed to and what you cannot see, you are not able to design dream towards. So for me, it was really critical. You know, coming from the village of Mbuzini, where there's a limit on certain things that you can aspire to. I was limited, but I said, let me conquer the space that I'm in. Let me study. Let me get matric, which at the time was the one that will give you a license to go out there and be exposed. And I tell you, Lebza spoke about what ifs, and what ifs they will always come. Yeah. A lot of what ifs. What if this doesn't work? What if this fails? What if so and so? But what about if you said, what if I succeed? Eish. What if I prosper? What if I succeed? So I then said, let me just keep going. And I then got out and said, well, went to university, registered for electrical engineering. And, you know, in pursuit of that which I want to do, that which excites me. After a while, 6 months, this thing is not for me. Makarapa and the lights and all that I'm not excited about. So I left it. Yeah. Went to do information technology. I'm saying, now I've got this thing. No, it's exciting. You are developing, you are coding, really excellent stuff, exciting stuff. But still it did not leave me to that passion. And until such time that I felt that what I'm actually missing is the human connection. Yeah. Because I realized that my passion is in people development, in assisting humans to achieve their goals, to achieve their potential, to do that which brings them joy and fulfillment. Yeah. And exposure, I then started reading about that. I started registering, I started speaking to people, I started following people in the same space and say, okay, if you are going to be a person who does this, then you need to do 1, 2, 3. And that's how I registered for human resource management, doing human resource development. And then I found myself going into the coaching space just to follow and ignite my passion so that I can ignite others.
Come on, man. I love that. Lebza, you are also a very passionate man. You know, I've been around you for some time now and I've seen how passionate you are. Yeah. But tell me, how did trial and error in your life and also just being exposed to specific things assist you in your life to be the man that you are now, a life of a passionate man, a passionate husband, a passionate father? Yeah. How did that play for you? How did those things play a role in you being a passionate person?
But like you take me back to 2023. I think I've worked in a state-owned entity for quite some time, and I was counting actually my working experience 2 days ago. Sure. And I realized that I actually stayed in the state-owned entity, I think, for 9 years. Sure. And I was comfortable because when you're working for the state, like job security, tops, you know. But there was something that came into my mind in towards the end of 2022 that, look, you need exposure in private sector. Looking at my career, if you gotta be good in it, you need to expose yourself in different industries. And then the opportunity came whereby I had to now leave my state-owned comfortable job and now go to the jungle of the private sector. Sure. And when I got there, it was a jungle in itself, especially for someone like me who was trained in a state-owned entity. You need to adapt as soon as possible, you know. But what actually helped me about joining the private sector is that I realized what my passion was. All along, I believed that I was good in project accounting only and only that, you know, because that's what I was exposed to. But when I got there, I was appointed as a management accountant. And there was something that fascinated me, going through a number and being able to tell a story. Sure. That thing, even today, like it has improved my analytical skills to a certain level that even when I'm studying a graph, I'm able to tell a story, even if it's not relating to what I'm doing in my career. So what I want to say is that we wouldn't have like Nike today if we never had like Phil Knight, who was the founder of Nike, who is the founder of Nike. This guy always had a passion to actually go and tour the world, and being exposed. But his end goal, it was to end in Japan, where he wanted to strike a deal to have the Nike, the Night sneakers.
Yeah.
Not the Night. Sorry, I forgot the brand. There's a certain brand that he was interested in that he actually wanted to sell in America to open up the market. Yeah. And this drive, like it was burning in him, that you need to go and expose yourself. Then he approached. He approached his father. Mind you, his father has never traveled the world.
Sure.
And then he was like to his father, look, I need money. I want to travel the world. And then he spoke to his friend. And then the friend bought the idea. Then they went to Hawaii. Stayed there for a couple of days. But this guy had a drive that, look, I need to move. And guess what? His friend had a girlfriend in Hawaii and decided to settle there.
Positioning.
He decided to settle there, but this guy had a drive. And when you have that drive, you don't care about the people that you are with at that time. If it's something that drives you, you are always forward thinking and you always want to see yourself somewhere.
Hey, I wish I had a friend in Pretoria who had a girlfriend. I could have easily accelerated.
Yeah, so this guy actually wanted to expose himself to the world and how the business is done. And mind you, around that time when he went to Japan, it was after America and Japan were fighting and all that. So he was also worried about that, because even when he gets there in his book, like The Shoe Dog, like he's actually talking about the challenges, the first challenges that he faced. But eventually he managed to find himself in that boardroom, talking to this Japanese guy, striking a deal, and eventually getting the sneakers imported to his country. And it all started with an idea of exposing yourself to the world. Because if you go ahead and you read his book, this guy traveled the world. Like he had a desire to be exposed. And most of the people who are successful, like they are exposed. They allow themselves to be exposed to uncomfortable environment sometimes. I mean, we can talk of Nelson Mandela. The guy had just graduated. He was running a law firm. He was doing well. And then all of a sudden, he's like, no, man, this is not my passion. Which reminds me of what Tuputin Tlantla just said. You try out certain things, you realize, no, this is not me. And mind you, you can be good in those things. But then sometimes there's a passion that drives you that this is not enough.
Hey, man, I was building Christmas trees, doing electrical engineering, having those diodes, my lights, flicking.
Yeah.
Yes, that. Yeah. But I couldn't feel myself. I couldn't get that joy and that fulfillment. And I had to just keep digging, keep trying. What is the thing that really makes me feel comfortable, settled, enjoying life to the fullest when I do it?
And Buti, what you're mentioning now is something so critical in our society. I think it's something that we often forget to speak about, because most people don't really know what passion is. And maybe you're sitting at home right now and you're asking yourself, what is this passion that you guys are talking about? What is your passion as Life Igniters? And I think it's something that I want to speak to as well, because I've been asking you guys the question, what is passion? What thing are you passionate about? And I'll answer, one of the questions that you have at home. Yeah, I mean, it's important that we actually tell you what we're passionate about.
Yeah.
I myself am passionate about people. When I see people, seeing people smiling, seeing people happy, seeing people encouraged, that's when I'm in my element. If I can be able to speak into your life and your life becomes better, that thing is what drives me every morning. That's the fire that burns inside of me, like you mentioned, Lebza, and it's a fire that even if you woke me up at 2:00 in the morning, I would be able to encourage someone to say, listen, you are better than what you're currently facing. You are stronger than what you are currently feeling. And that's something that burns inside of me, that burns inside of us as Life Igniters. But I'd like to hear maybe from a personal level now. You gents, like I mentioned, you're passionate people. I know Umnefu is very passionate about his wife. He's passionate about his children as well. Just like I mentioned of you, Lebza. Tell me, what are you guys passionate about?
I'm passionate about making things work.
Yeah.
That's just what I'm passionate about. It's because it actually stems from when I grew up. I got so used to making things work for myself.
Yeah.
So whenever I see people struggle and things are not working, it kind of concerns me, which is why even at work, like sometimes I get excited by being given a challenge to solve, a bigger challenge to solve, because through that, I get this self-fulfillment at the end that I did something. And whenever I'm not exposed to that, I get bored and I can literally fall asleep if I'm doing something that doesn't challenge me. And one other thing that goes parallel with that, it's touching people's lives. If I do something for someone and I see that it's working for them, even if they don't come back to say that, thank you, you helped me with this, but by me seeing the progress in their lives, it kind of gives me a self-fulfillment to say that you did your part.
That's why you're my brother, man. I can tell this thing is in us, man. It's in us, this thing. Ned, please tell us what your passion is or what your passions are, because I'm sure it's more than one passion.
Yeah, no, for me, I think it's summed up in the fact that just want to see people get to their next level.
Yeah.
When I left
Coach
my job,
NX.
exactly, you said it. When I left my job to actually follow my passion of really helping people to their next level, growth and development is at the core of it. If I help somebody get to the next level, that's when I feel I'm at my best.
Yeah.
You talk about waking up at night about that same thing. There are times when I feel down, there are times when I feel I'm discouraged.
Yeah.
But if I get a call, I get a message to say, man, this is what I'm going through. And I am able to speak positivity into that and shift you from that mindset of negativity to a positive mindset. I tell you, suddenly, I lift up, my heart dances and jumps with joy. And that's when I realized as well, as I was working full-time in my previous job, where I realized, actually, I want to focus on this fully. My heart is at this. There are a lot of people who need support. There are a lot of people who needs to just get to the next level of joy, next level of purpose, next level of destiny, next level of just experiencing the better version of themselves. And how can I do that? Through the day-to-day engagements, through the use of social media, through a vehicle as Coach NX and Life Igniters. And that's really what gives me the pump, what gives me drive. And I'm excited to wake up every morning and do that which I'm passionate about.
And trust me, working with people, helping them achieve those milestones, Puti, it requires you to have passion.
Sure.
Working with people, personally, I'm not in the human resources space, but you do interact with people there and there in my career, and you are exposed to different characters, And then imagine if you were to be Upud and then decide to leave your work and go to work on helping people to achieve or unleash their potential. How does it feel like? So you need to be passionate about it because you are helping someone realize their purpose.
And one of the things as well, as you do that, as you follow your passion, some of the things that you need to be mindful of, it's noises. Because there's always going to be noises. There's always going to be negative voices that speak to you, that brings self-doubt. You cannot do this. This and this challenge, this and this. As long as you're convicted and convinced about something, go for it.
Sure.
Do it. I promise you, the one who calls for it will make a way.
Come on now. And then you're making me feel excited right now, gents, because you're speaking about passion. And I think it's something that we don't often say, but when you live a life of passion, you just excite people. When you see some of the people that are doing what they are passionate about, you just get excited being around them. You look at your
charisma.
Yeah, there's a charisma about it, And I'm sure even during the times of Jesus, when they saw Jesus, people just got excited. Like, this guy is passionate. He's got zeal. We call it zeal back in the day, but it's a passion really that drives you, that makes you the person that you are, that makes people around you feel better. And it's something that we don't really see in our societies nowadays because a lot of people don't have passion. But we are here to say to you, you have that passion. It just needs to be ignited, and that's why we're here. So don't leave the screen. Don't leave the screen. We're still going to talk about some interesting things. One of the things that excited me as well is there was a guy when we were growing up, or we were actually adults by then, PushiPassion. This guy was always passionate about something, always doing something in the communities, in people's lives. And you could see it made him even look young, and yet he was old. And that's something that people don't realize, that when you're pushing your passion, when you're excited about life and bringing life into other people, it makes you a better person. It gives you better health. Maybe little diabetes or little whatever that it is, it will die away if you are pushing a life of passion. You are keeping yourself healthy because I need to be around for a long time to do this thing that I'm passionate about. And I think that's something that we need to say to someone who's sitting across the screen, who's thinking, but my life doesn't feel like that right now. I feel as though things are a bit tougher than they should be. But those are some of the noises that you mentioned.
And to add to that, Nate, about health, even this goes beyond even the physical health. It goes to mental health as well. Because if I am not in my position, if I am not in the space that I'm supposed to be in, I am frustrated because I'm trying to do things that are not in my comfort spot, things that I'm not called or wired for. Now I try to do things that I'm seeing others doing.
Sure. Yeah.
So then you end up causing yourself mental health issues. Whereas if you find that which you're passionate about and work at it, I tell you, it eliminates a lot of issues, eliminates a lot of even trying to compete with somebody. Because, I'm in my lane, I'm sitting in that which is for me. Therefore, I have no competition. I drive at my own speed. I go at my own pace because this is me. I'm not trying to be somebody else. But if I'm trying to be Mvuzo, I want to run as fast as Mvuzo. But if I am just me.
It's slow, by the way. But running is slow, as you can tell. But continue.
Yes. And so it's very important that you really find that which brings you joy and fulfillment. I tell you, then your mental health is going to improve. It brings a much healthier you, and one that's going to be able to pour out into others as well, that which you've been given and deposited in you.
Come on. And Puti, I think this is a question I'd like to ask you, because you've been in a workplace, and in workplaces where you mentioned state-owned entities, you mentioned the private sector. What kind of voices were there that tried to limit the person that you are and the passion that you have? Do you want to just share a little bit about your own experiences, about those voices that Nhlanhla mentioned? That try to limit that passion.
You do get. I think the first questions that comes to you, it's a what if. What if could go wrong? Especially when you are working in an environment. When you are working in an environment like a private sector, like you can join today, and then next week they retrench. Sure. That's what came into my mind, that now I'm not going to be in a company that solely depend on the parliamentary grant, whereby all their salaries are catered for. But now I'm in a jungle whereby I can wake up tomorrow and I'm jobless and I need to go and do something about it. But then what stood like in the middle of everything, it was the growth.
Yeah,
I wanted to grow. I wanted to be like the pushing passion guy that you're talking about. Because there's certain people that I look up to. I myself, I want to see myself at the certain level where I'm able to inspire even young people that look, you need to expose yourself to a certain environment that even when you are there, you don't feel like I'm not supposed to be here. And here's the thing, in my experience of joining a private sector, whenever I came across a challenge, guess what came to my mind? You shouldn't have been here.
Ish.
You should have just stayed where you were. And you know what will happen? You'll start calling even the people that you used to work with just to find out if they don't have any available position. And it's simply because of the comfort zone that you exposed yourself into for all those years. But then if you are someone who actually takes stock of how far you have went career-wise, you are able to actually look at where you started and you are able to connect all the dots to where you are to say that actually I have grown. Because now you are in a different environment, you are serving different people. So meaning your career and mentally, like you have evolved. You no longer solve the problems the way you used to solve them before, because now in government, in most of the time, they say you deal with comrades, right? And then in private sector, who do you deal with? You deal with business-minded people. So now you are able to actually tackle the issues in a different way. And me staying up to so far, it means there is something that I'm doing. And there is something that drives me, which is what? The goal. So I choose to listen to the... which is the passion, sorry, not the goal. Which means that there's good voices that I choose to listen to. Because you will never only have like bad voices, you'll also have good voices. Although in most of the time, bad voices, they overpower the good voices. Then that's where reading books and being with the people that are like-minded comes in. Because if you are company. If you don't have a good company, if there's nothing that you are reading that keeps on refueling your passion or your growth, you can easily give up.
That's so critical what you just mentioned now. The role of people around you that play a role in pushing your passion as well. Because you know, in life, most of the time, especially amongst men, men try to do things on their own most of the time. And that's something that's very wrong. We should change that narrative. And Nhlanhla always mentions that we must learn to unlearn and then relearn. You know, it's something that we are putting as a motto as well amongst ourselves. And how do you unlearn something that you thought was the right thing? You know, how do you get people to speak into your life that would make an impact so that you can continue going in the journey of your passion? Maybe you can answer that for me, but because I think it's something that most people are feeling stuck with. Some people have plateaued and they've gotten to a place where they no longer see themselves having a life of passion. How do we raise someone who's feeling like they've plateaued by aligning them with the right voices? And how does that make an impact going forward?
Well, I think it's the limits that we put on ourselves that sometimes hinder us. And Lebo also spoke about now calling past employers and the past people. So to me, it says that also your past can be a hindrance. You know, you sometimes, even how you used to do things, I don't want to unlearn this thing because it has worked for me. Why should I change it? You know, which then ends up being a limitation itself, and which is something that you also see a lot in businesses. Some businesses, they die because people want to do things the same way I've done it. Whereas if you open yourself to possibilities and say, the way of doing things now is changing. You know, in the past, you didn't even have microphones like these. It was different setup when you have conversations. And there are now podcasts. People have moved with times. What is it in your space that you need to keep up to date with? And which is an interesting thing, Mnetfu. I'm thinking about you as an entrepreneur. You know, you've started a number of businesses. Perhaps there are some lessons that you can share with us in your space. You know, what are the things you had to unlearn? And maybe what are the past things that hindered you, you know?
Yeah, I think it's clear to me some of the things that I've done. Some mistakes I made because I listened to too many people. Some mistakes I made because I surrounded myself with the wrong kind of people. And some good mistakes happened that led me to where I am now. You know, I remember one time I was sitting in a group of men who are successful. You know, these are guys who are running businesses that are multi-billion rand businesses. And I'm sitting there thinking, but I don't even have 100,000 in my account. You know, but I realized that the company that I put myself around is the company that could jolt me forward. You know, it's the kind of company that would say, listen, yes, you are making less than 100,000 right now, but you have the potential to make billions. That's why you are sitting around this circle. And from that meeting came the business that I'm running now, which is a business that I believe every person needs the item that I'm selling. But if I had not exposed myself, number one, to that kind of crowd, and also listened to those kind of voices, I would probably be feeling plateaued myself right now. I would probably be feeling as though there's no point in doing life anymore, because what I've learned is that things are not going well. You look at the economy, you've learned that the economy is struggling. You've learned that there's job cuts. You yourself have cut jobs. As a business person, one of the most difficult things is cutting jobs. Very painful. I mean, I'm a person who's passionate about giving people employment, making sure that there's food on the table. And I'm the guy who's supposed to now come to you and say, listen, I've got to cut your job. There's no work. I don't have a project. I don't have this. But I learned along the way that I don't need to do work according to projects anymore.
Yeah.
I can do work outside of projects. I can expose myself to a caliber of people that are saying, hey, listen, we can do work with private sector. You can do work with mines. You can do work with this. And that allowed me to grow as an entrepreneur. Allowed me to become a better version of Mvuzo that I didn't even know existed. Because now I'm excited about the opportunity to become a billionaire, like the guys that I've surrounded myself with. The guys who are saying, listen, we turn over anything between 3 and 500 million a month. That's a lot of money, but if I could turn over that kind of money, South Africa would be different. But that's because I'm passionate about that. If some of these guys were passionate about it, we'd have a better South Africa. But those are voices that speak positivity, that allow you to become better. And that's what I've learned along the way. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't have the opportunity to learn, because they surround themselves with the same crowd all the time, and hence the same kind of learning. Hence you find people who are addicted to drugs, or addicted to this, because the crowd they surround themselves with is telling them it's okay to be a drug addict. And you see the role, again, Bafethu, of how important the crowd is to you. You cannot be a crowd pleaser as well if you're going to PushiPassion. Angeke ube crowd pleaser. Angeke ugcwale thinking that you can do things for people if you are pushing passion.
And you won't be liked by everyone.
Exactly.
Because you are thinking, you are staying in your own lane. And when you are staying in your own lane, like in Free State, we say that you are wearing the oogklaps.
Come on.
So
Say that again.
oogklap, it means the blinkers that you put on your horse to focus on the road.
Sure.
Yeah,
Let's
so-
make a sense.
But Bapere.
Oscar Gapere. Yeah.
But Bafwethu, I'll be going to my village. I'll be going to other places and encounter people in the street corners, in the boardrooms, in the elevators. People where you see that they need something ignited in them. They want to, live in their passions. They want those passions to come alive. What should I tell them? What should I say? What message are you giving to those people who are saying, I want to live a life of passion. I want my passion ignited, because I tell you, it's inside. It's not on top.
Yeah.
So it's inside
It's
of
inside
each and
this
every
time,
person.
yeah.
But how can they ignite it? How do you bring it out? So, and I think that's what somebody's sitting there asking themselves, Machitanyanizwa, my life igniters.
Yeah.
But what do you say I should do tomorrow? I want to push my passion. I want to start doing something. Where do I start?
I think it starts from what pains you. When you walk around in society, you look around, you look at people around you. What is it that pains you, that makes you feel as though if this thing doesn't change, life will become worse? And I think that's just the starting point, because most of us grew up in communities where poverty was rife. But it should pain you that poverty is rife in your community. It should pain you. You mentioned that you come from Mbuzini. You come from a place where most people don't even know what Mbuzini is. As soon as people hear Mbuzini, they think about goats. And that's not what Mbuzini is. It's a town. It's a vibrant town. It's people there. But what's rife there is the unemployment, the lack in people's lives. People still live as though it's those village times. And it's true for most places. It should pain you that things are not okay. Because, I was speaking to someone recently who said, if it doesn't pain you enough, you're not going to be willing to change.
Yeah.
If it doesn't hurt you, if not this thing. It annoys me that I'm not where I'm supposed to be. It needs to pain you to the point where now you begin to look around. What can I do? What am I good at? And I don't need to have money to push passion. I think that's something that is a misconception. You don't need money to push your passion. All you need is a drive to say that, listen, my community is struggling. I'm going to make sure that my community doesn't struggle anymore. There's a guy that we were at an event at recently, and this guy, he was hit by a vehicle. And this guy, after he got his RAF money, did not go and blow it. Literally, this guy looked around his community and said, I'm going to make my community better. Because we see too many guys, I blew it because of a mindset. And I think that's also something that you will speak to as well as you continue, Buffett. A mindset shift is very important. If you are going to push passion, you need to have a mindset of helping. You need to have a mindset of what can I do? You need to have a mindset of if I don't do this, no one else will do it. That's the starting point. Then once you've built that narrative, then you begin to fuel yourself with good information. How do I do this? Because it's all good and well for you to know what you are passionate about, but how do you do it? You mentioned reading, Lebs. Start to read. Start to develop yourself. You know, you encourage me so much because you are one of the guys that studies the most. Investing in yourself. You don't need to buy books. Some books are free. I can go and go to Nhlanhla's library and say, in fact, to borrow me a book, borrow me 10 books.
And you know what they say?
Yeah.
Is that investing in knowledge pays the best interest.
Come on. Yeah. Come on now, say it again.
Investing in knowledge pays the best interest.
Yeah, I know. That's why we hang around with such people, Buffett, because he's a well of wisdom. And once you've built, that investment in yourself, then you can become valuable to society. And once you are valuable to society, now I'm doing something here. I'm making a difference. When this guy began to bring the solutions that he brought, the guy that I was talking about, the solutions, water, he began to bring electricity, he began to bring, food sources to people. Yeah. People started getting encouraged themselves to become better. Then that's where you start to see, no, I'm doing something about this. This is something I'm passionate about. And right now he's being honored across the country because he's doing something about the situation in his community. So first, build the right foundation, invest in yourself, then run with it. Surround yourself with the right people. Build on access to information. Build on access to what other people are doing as well. Thina singabantu, we struggle because we're always looking ukuthi umuntu uzothini ngami or umuntu uzowenzani mangenza something that is similar to what they're doing. There's nothing wrong. Build on their strengths. Go out there and do it better than what they were doing it in their own communities. Or do it the same. As long as you're making a difference, it's going to change communities. It's going to change your life. And like we said earlier, it's going to jolt you. Every morning when you wake up, you're going to have a reason to wake up. So that's what I'd say, Buffett. To build the right foundations, invest in yourself, follow after people who are doing a difference in their communities.
Yeah, for me, it's a tough one, Nhlanhla, because we are reaching to someone out there who is hopeless, someone who has tried everything and things are not working, But I always say that for you to change the situation, you need to accept that there is a puzzle that I need to solve. Yeah, basically it means that there is a problem and I have to identify this problem and I have to find the ways to actually solve it. So what I would say is that it starts first with accepting that there is something that I want to change in my life. And you will never, one thing I've learned from Nhlanhla is that you will never change something if you are not writing it down. Because when you're writing it down, you are declaring that this is the step that I'm going to take. This is what I need to follow. And I must say to everyone who is at home that it's not easy, guys, to unlearn something. It's not easy to change or transition into something. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not the forex trading that people are talking about, that you invest 5,000 today and then tomorrow you'll have 100,000. It's you are working on yourself, and you are working on yourself emotionally. You are working on yourself in some instances like physically. See, and also you are building a channel of networks of the people who are thinking like you. And then in some instances, you happen to find yourself like in Embuzina or in Rates, where maybe there isn't enough opportunities for the passion or the purpose that you want to fulfill. And this will actually push you to actually go out of within the bounds of your township to go and expose yourself so that you can come back, if needs be, to implement whatever that you are passionate about. So what I would say is that first things first is to write your vision down. Secondly, feel comfortable to fail. But don't just go out there and just decide to fail dismally, but fail with that thing at the back of your head to say that I am building onto something.
Yeah.
Because if I'm telling you, if as an entrepreneur, you've failed multiple times, you could have decided to drop this entrepreneurship career and be like, stuff it, I'm going to hand in my CV to someone and work for some. This is not working. But because there's something that drives you, you are able to wake up in the morning and think that, okay, now that I didn't get this business there, let me go and try somewhere else. And you know that you're not immune to a failure, but you keep on. You keep on going and you keep on going on up until you know that I've achieved what I want to achieve. And here's what I've learned from Nelson Mandela in his long walk to freedom is that when you think you have achieved what you always wanted to achieve, you actually realize that there is more for you to actually achieve. So meaning when a long walk to freedom ends here, it means there's another pattern of long walk to freedom that you need to travel. Because as a businessman, I believe that when you start a business, you want to make big profits. With big profits comes what? The responsibility to appoint people to come and work for you. And when people start to work for you now, you're looking at growing your business into a bigger corporate. When you have a bigger corporate within South Africa, you look into expanding to the continent. From the continent, you go global. So you should be prepared. You should have prepared yourself like for the roadmap that you're going to follow in order for you to achieve that. And also prepare yourself mentally that I'm starting this. If it's not working, I'm not going to give up. I'll keep on trying to find ways to achieve it. Because even if, as a career man, I know that if today, whenever they are looking for a chief financial officer, they want a chartered accountant. So it means if I want to channel myself towards that, I should study towards chartered accountancy because that's the end goal. But if I choose not to follow that, it means I'm going to get stuck where I'm stuck, or I'm going to stuck where my qualifications could only get me to. But if I opened up myself and allow myself to be challenged to say that I want to be a chartered global management accountant, I want to be a chartered accountant, you take that route, you go with it. Eventually it'll pay off and you'll end up becoming who you want to be.
That's good.
So
Amazing.
You need to be prepared to get out of your comfort zone. Because if you are having discussions with yourself in your mind and you're answering yourself, you will never achieve the goals that you want to achieve.
That's good.
That's just my take.
Sure. Yeah. And yourself, Puti? Anything you'd like to add to that? Yeah.
Yeah, well, from my side, I think in my last words in closing is that to push your passion, to ignite your passion, make sure that you also take care of yourself. Because oftentimes, yes, I said earlier that the passion is trapped within you. But in order to untrap it, in order to ignite it, make sure that you are also taking after the body within which the passion is housed. Because if that body is unwell, then you are unwell mentally, then you are unwell physically. So if you need to exercise. If you need to eat well, when you can do that, so that as you think about your passion, as you follow it, you are in a healthy and better space because you're able to pursue, thrive better when your mind is clear and you are much healthier.
Sure. That's so good, gents. And then as we close, Buffett, maybe just a one line now, something that you can say to someone who's saying, I hear you and I want to pursue it. What would you say to them just in closing, quick, about how do they then do this thing? Quickly, Lebs.
I mean, guys, I would keep on emphasizing this. The knowledge is hidden in the books.
Yeah.
Read the books.
Yeah.
Read.
Yeah.
And today I'm here, I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah.
I never thought I would actually be here, like being recorded while I'm talking like this comfortably.
Yeah.
But it's simply
You have been
because
DVD'd.
yes,
Yeah,
via
DVD.
DVD. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that keep the company that pushes you beyond your limits.
Yeah.
In our first recording, like I literally wanted to run away. I wanted to come up with an excuse.
You
because
did, but it was in your heart.
because for me it was uncharted waters, to be honest.
Sure.
But then through the help of the people that I'm surrounding myself, of which it's you guys, like I'm able to say that, look, in as much as I'm not good at this, but with time I'm gonna be the best in this.
Come on.
So you have to have that thing in your mind that I want to transform my life. And you need to understand that for you to transform your life, you need to push yourself. Nothing will just come, but the drive should always be, I want to do this.
Sure. That's good. Buti, last words?
Figure out your passion. Don't delay. Start tomorrow. Get support. Go for it. Things will open up and going to enjoy life to the fullest.
Come on. And just in closing, I want to say to someone at home, you are that diamond. You're just a little bit rough right now. Things around you are a bit rough. Allow those things to scrape you and shape you so that you can have that life of passion. You already can shine, but your shining will come when you decide it's the time to shine now. Let that process shape you. Let those circumstances shape you, just like you've heard from the gents, so that when you get to your level of shining, you will shine the brightest. Life Igniters, where we ignite a life of passion, and we are passionate about the people that we serve.
Yes, sir.
Have a blessed one.
Thank you.
Thank you, gents.
Yes.
Thank you.